welcome to Today at the Races here on Thursday at Laurel Park, Cali, Francois, along with Keith Fustel, of course. Keith, as per usual, you talk about the prices of the previous race day. So Sunday wrapped up a couple of nice prices. $15.80 in the second start of the early pick four on Little Spinner for Ricky Sanchez, Salmon, Thais, Live, Justina on that one. Lacey Gaudet, Johan Rosado in race number 3 that kicked off the Rainbow Pick 6 on Sunday was with Speak Unity, a $75.20 payout on a 35 to 1 shot. And then, of course, Brazina, 10 to 1, 22.80 with Kieran McGee and Louis Rivera Jr. there in the end.
How about Brazina right now for Kieran? Well, the barn's just rocking and rolling.
Yes.
I mean, they are on absolute fire right now. Really sharp speed the other day and got it done, held firm to the wire. Speak Unity got up at a big price to nail one of my old favorites, Battle Bus. Battle Bus ran big in return.
Run big because normally Battle Bus isn't the most trustworthy first off of the layoff, so I agree with you. I was very impressed with how Battle Bus did coming back into 2023 turf season. As we continue on with that, let's go ahead and take a look and see how the dirt and the turf look here on Thursday.
I'll tell you one thing. I hope this weather stays, with us through the weekend, especially Saturday with that stakes card that we have. It's beautiful today. You couldn't ask for a better day in Laurel. 80 degrees, sun shining. Main track is fast, turf is firm, and looking forward to a big weekend. Lots of betting opportunities. They just abound on these cards. I just got done Saturday's line just a little while ago before I came down here.
We were just discussing
some
it.
Highly competitive races, some big-time talent on display Saturday. Do not miss that spring spectacular stakes card.
With a nice especially those turf stakes that are lining up. Things are going to get interesting on Saturday. 11 races on the card, but let's talk about Thursday's races here. 8 to start off the weekend for you here today. Starts off with the early pick 5 in this starter optional, claiming 12.5, going 5.5 on the turf for the girls 3 years old and up. A lot of well-bred horses in association with the half siblings wise for the turf here today for these girls. Keith, you have the number 2 on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bramble Bush for Mikey Gorham and Carol Cedeno.
Yeah, this is going back to last summer at the Club Colonial, as I like to call it. Colonial Downs. And, works out a trip from behind horses. It's going to be able to kind of shift out and make its way home. Good run. Bramble Bush, probably, when you're looking at winners on the turf here in this field, I would say the most established form. I mean, Lily Simone maybe has run a little bit faster. That's going the real go back.
Right.
But I like how she can kind of sustain a run. Translate came out of that race, the horse that she's going to nail here. Translate 72, 77, 74 after that from your buyer's figure standpoint.
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
Her recent form, Callie, not good, but going to go second off the claim. I know recently, Gorham on a streak. Let's start a new streak of winning.
Yes.
And listen, I'm going to use this one from somewhere from just mid-pack. I think there's some questionable speed types. I like your 5 as well, the other Mikey Gorham horse. Touch on the breeding. I have some notes if you need them.
Let's take a look at Bramble Bay. Bramble Bay half sibling.
Raise your game. Your top selection.
Sorry, raise your game. Sorry, I just had just an interference in my mic. But half to Sunny inspired. Okay, Victor's and on top of that, Victor Carrasco has been doing well on the turf with this comeback as well. I've seen him put in some beautiful rides on the turf as of lately, especially with Gotham as well, and with Gotham in the past 4 starts on the turf. No wins, but a second and a third, so 50% in the money there on the turf with Gorham and Carrasco.
Yeah, I think that's good. This horse by Violence. Violence is they can kind of run on anything. So might kind of bring that run from the back of the back. I looking at the speed factor, looks like the 1A Epicurean for Ness, the one that stays in, showed a lot of speed on the go back on the turf when it was in the Wesley Ward barn. I think that's going to be the tactics here. Try to set sail from the outside. Miners Gem's in pretty good form. Mainly dirt. Interesting move here that they're going to keep this one staying on the grass here. But the excuses you can give about the turf tries for Miners Gem. I know I don't have her in the top 4. Might toss her in. If I get some value here with my top selections in Exacta, is that they were over ground that gave a little bit, soft, good to yielding kind of surfaces. So maybe toss those. She at least brings some good dirt from the table. And Lily Simone, the 9, you've got her second. I've got her in the mix. A very capable barn, Jose Magana. you've got to go way back. But, man, some gaudy numbers comparatively to this group. So if she kind of brings it back, claim for a reason, and that was the turf.
Exactly. Overall, I'm thinking this is a very smart claim by Magna. I'm also going to refer back to those New York races on the turf back in June and August at Saratoga and Belmont of 2021. So yes, on the go back. But this horse came back a year later after that turf campaign in 2021. Came back a year later and was running at Charlestown on the dirt. So, of course, we get back to the preferred surface. We get an outside post. It makes things really easy for Richard Monterey if this filly wants to show up again on the turf like she has in the past.
Interesting. A little rematch. She beat Epicurean on
She
the
did.
go back. But, yeah, let's go to race 2 now.
Before we go to race 2, we will be right back after this commercial break.
All right.
And they're off.
Comes to getting back in the game, there's only one team to turn to. The team more high school, collegiate, and professional athletes train and recover with. That team is MedStar Sports Medicine. For more than 30 years, MedStar has served as a leader in the diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation of orthopedic and sports-related injuries. Ranked among the top programs in the Maryland and Washington regions, we offer rapid access to athletes of all levels. Let the pros who treat the pros treat you. MedStar Sports Medicine.
And here comes Point of Entry. Point of Entry's taking the lead. Point of Entry wins.
Placoup Parfait is finishing hard along the inside. Placoup Parfait takes out the Derby.
We go from the early pick 5 to the start of the early pick 4. Keith, as per usual, you have a ticket lined up for us. How do you play it?
Yeah, here we go. $24 ticket, 1-5. A little Jack Harmon to get you started. Bad Temper, Irrational Millennial. Look for a little price. We do not have the Morning Line Phase, Water Witch, or Al-Wajad in there.
Right.
Race 3, 2 deep, 3 in the 8. Backstreet Affair. We've got a little stat coming on Dancer's Melody. 3 deep in the 4th with the 1, the 2, and the 4. Wrap it up, 5th. Highly competitive sprint there. That's starter optional. 1-2-7-8 for $24. Let's roll to the second, Cal.
Let's do that. And this claiming 10,000 for the girls. 3 years old and up, going a mile and 16th here on the dirt. Keith, let's talk about your first place in this race. Bad Temper for Horace Parker gets Al Delgado. This is a pick that I like on top, as I have this one in my exacta.
Yeah, moving outside to inside, going to take advantage of that inside route, I believe, at the 2 turns here. The figures are improving. Yeah, maybe a little bit better on the slop. I think you've got a lot of inconsistency with these runners. At least she's holding some semblance of form. Delgado doesn't ride a lot. He's going to be hungry, ready to rock, on or just off the lead for Bad Temper.
And that's exactly what I kind of go with the Al angle. Al is going to be and has given this filly a solid ride in these past 2 starts, and I can see that continuing. Let's talk about your exacta in Rational Millennial for Corrales and Brasino.
Yeah, she's out of that same race as Bad Temper last time out on the sloppy sealed service at a mile. Kind of chase. Is she really a 2-turn horse? I don't know, but I just don't trust the favorites. I think therefore she holds a little value to me, getting to run a route 2 times in a row. I mean, I watched that race last time out. The bottom horse, you got Concepcion, dropping, did no running whatsoever. Was caught 5 wide into the first turn. It just didn't want to go. I don't know. I mean, she's kind of tough to leave out because she has a gaudy number 2 back, 57 comparatively to the field. But I got to seek a little bit more value. And Water Witch, it just holds value. Doesn't have a slew of speed. Yeah, ran okay on the dirt at Tampa. I got no real excuses last time out. They hold the level on the dirt. And this barn, very capable. They're on a roll right now, but only 2 for 13 between that 5 and 10,000 range off the claim in Maryland. Maryland the last couple years.
There we go.
There you
And Keith Fustel's viewpoint on Water Witch in his third selection, he wraps things up with the number 7. But race number 3 is the start of the Rainbow Pick 6. We have a carryover of what accumulation from those big prices that we had back on Sunday. If we could take a look at that carryover board of 6,170, and that will surely be climbing at the start of the race number 3. I have a ticket structure lined up for you guys. This is how I play it. 4 deep here in race number 3, and I go 4-6 there in race number 4. I also go 2 deep in there in race number 5 with the 2 and the 8. Big Man Can, your best bet of the day with Alpha Chi Row. Going to be interesting with that Kieran McGee, with that transfer, high percentage transfer as of lately from Charlestown to Laurel. Race number 6, that turf allowance. Got to go deep. Could have gone deeper. I go 4, 7, 8, 11. I had to single somewhere with my ticket, and I decided to do it in race number 7 in that allowance optional claiming 55. Armando R. coming back into the swing of things and hopefully continues with that little bit of showcasing that he did last time out. And in race number 8, the finale, here on Thursday, I go 3 deep with the 3, 8, 10, and that claiming 25,000. A nice way to wrap up Thursday's race card here in that 8th race. But let's get back into this 3rd race. This claiming 5,000, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the girls 3 years old and up. Keith, let's go ahead. Take a look at both of our share top selections. This is your best bet of the day. And Dancer's Melody for Tom McMahon gets Louis Rivera Jr.
Yeah, one of my better plays of this afternoon. I think, claim for 5. Ran a good race in that starter last time out at 7/8. They put the blinkers on, was into the race a little bit sooner. And I tell you what, holds pretty well to the wire. Only going to get it beat a length and some change. Awesome View, a consistent type around here. So at this 7/8 distance, I think it's going to work for her. I think she can prompt and just kind of grind and stay around for a barn that does quite well second off the claim. So we've got a little stat here for the Thomas McMahon barn. Very small sample, but it's a pretty strong one.
Small
3
but
for
mighty.
6. Yeah, 50% there. 5 for 6 in the money. Second off the claim with an ROI of a really good $4.70. You spread here, I think 4 deep. And your pick 6, and rightly so. This is a competitive heat. Prepare for takeoff from the rail. Overcame some early adversity to get position and run big. And you can't really leave out Backstreet Affair. Funny bet. These 4 are very, very close. Backstreet Affair getting that fast track today. A really good try in that 3 and life for 8. Having to kind of hit the brakes at the quarter bowl 2 back. So this is the one that's going to get that forward position and I think bring a finish for a very, very hot barn right now.
Sorry, your best bet is coming up, but
Yeah.
I would have to agree. It's easy to go. We're in the obvious for Dancer's Melody, but the other ones are just have enough to offer under the radar. Where this is racing, this is also a nickel race. Anything can happen. You might as well go a little bit wide on these cheaper races that can offer a lot of variety. And with that being said, let's go from the nickel 5 to a claiming 40,000 in race number 4, going a mile and 16th on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Keith, you have the Addison Poor. I fought with this one being in my top selection as well for Brittany Russell and Javian Toledo. Coming second off of the break. I have an excuse for this one last time out, but I want your take first.
I want your take, because we've got drifted early, 4 wide and empty. There was something there, just didn't run a step after that early on. My key is the fact that they're still kind of protecting this guy. A bigger barn, a barn that's not afraid to drop horses. The owner, Elkstone, he's a gelding. That to me gives me a little bit of hope. Some forward works moving into this. I wish some of the speed, the speed of Cryo would have stayed in here. But that's what I'm kind of going to trust right there, that they think they've got this guy figured out off the little bit of a break.
Sure. And what I see is that in that last effort out, this guy is a little bit of a plotter. It doesn't maybe perhaps seem so if you look at his form, because on his form you say you're looking at that last quarter pole to the 8th. You're saying, hey, this horse has a pretty good turn of foot. He is a little bit more of a plotter. He was not engaged in that first effort back into 2023. So I'm going to go ahead and say Toledo is going to get this horse sent a little bit more forward, because this horse cannot make that much. He can't make up that much difference from 11 lengths on, and it was essentially just a wrap-up job after that. So I think mentally, Addison Port, Toledo back on, is going to find an easier time of things for him today.
Yeah, he beats a horse in Uncle Irish, who's gone on to win a 2 other than optional, right, allowance. So that's good. He was favored against Rusty's G550, who would probably be favored in this group, sans if Cryo wasn't in here. So that's it for me. That last race is so bad that they kind of keep him at 40. We shall see. I think Down Cold is the now horse for a barn that's right now in Hugh McMahon. Just rolling along, very similar to Kieran McGee. Like the effort last time, chasing 4 wide, dropping in, came back on at the end, was very willing, stretching back out, has the rail position. This one should get great position. Orner just off the lead here for Down Cold.
I fought with this horse. This was a tough race for me to get in between my top selections, so I said to myself, why not go with a little bit of price? And I find mine in Shalonian with Jamie Ness Rodriguez, 10-1. The biggest thing I'm going off is Thunderian was sent back, going short for some reason last time out, who this one was second to. Was third in a 62.5 regardless, going up there in New York, going 6. So I'm just going to go ahead. This is just one that has been consistent, knocking on the door. I'm looking for a little bit of racing luck clearly with this one, but slowly but surely has been going up in numbers, especially with that last effort out. So it's just a continuation of a pattern I see.
Yeah, you just kind of glance at his numbers, and he has to improve a couple lengths at least. Look at the way that he was in for 32 last time. He's in for 40 today. Interesting move on a barn that easily will drop a horse. They don't worry about that, right? Losing. He showed a lot more tenacity in that sloppy sealed service. See if it transfers over to the fast track today.
And even if you go back, he ran on a good surface track with moisture back in December at Laurel. He jumps up, really kind of shows himself well, despite going shorter at Parks in that last effort out. So that transfer from wet to fast dirt also helps out Shalonian today. And we will be right back after this quick commercial before we tackle on the rest of the card.
Showtime. Guess who's back again? I don't believe me, just watch. Hey, oh! Guess you make me feel right. I've been locked out of heaven. I'ma leave the door open. That's right. We out here tripping in finesse. 'Cause you're amazing. Just the way you are.
Of course, we've got Bruno Mars coming back here for Preakness 148. Get in on your ticket action. Go to Pimlico.com and Preakness.com for more information. Race number 5 has a starter optional claiming 20,000, going 6 furlongs on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Keith, you and I both have Big Man Can for Damon Deal DeVico on top with Dennis Arujo coming. Again, this is another one knocking on the door, showing some consistency. So I feel like this one might be. It could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if this one came in at a bit of a higher price by the time we get up to the gate.
Yeah, we shall see. Scratch the 5. Morning line favorite, Youngest to 5, who was making that drop off of the brag. But Big Man Ken, yeah, he hasn't come back to the 89. I mean, that was a big, visually strong effort on February the 11th. A couple tries here now for Damon Dilladovico. This is third time in the barn. The barn heating back up. Had a little bit of a lull month and a half ago. The last 30 days, 04 for 14, 29%. And there was so much speed signed on, I should say, in this race. If they come out cleanly, Alpha Chi Row, Yes Sir Robert, you've got Aristocratic on the outside. Some really fast horses, Alpha Chi Row and Aristocratic. These two, they can go at you, and they can stay. So, just don't think they're going to, really kill each other out there. These are horses that can kind of hang around and don't mind a fight. I just think Bidman will settle. He'll follow through and kick back up a little improvement off that last 74 buyer that he ran on March 25th over that sloppy surface. I think he's going to be a little bit better on a fast track today.
Well, adding to that trip right there, in that last trip, Dennis, he didn't have the smoothest start coming out of the gate. So then Dennis pushed this horse forward a little bit, maybe compensating for that break a little bit, and I think he found himself further up in the field than he would have liked, and then he just continued to go on with it. So uncharacteristically, and it may not seem like it on the sheet, but this horse ran harder earlier than what this horse is used to. So I kind of like that transfer, having all this speed amongst him and just letting that go, getting a little bit more of a relaxed trip today.
It's a good point. You come out there, and then little things can set horses off out of the gate if they don't go quite right, and you see he's up 3 lengths within a 45-4. That's not his game. So therefore, that run did fizzle just a touch, even though he loomed. That's not his game. He's going to be 7, 8, 9 out of it. I think when they go into the turn today, I'll be shocked because they will be flying. Alpha Chi Row coming in here. He's going to battle you tooth and nail from the inside. I think Charge to Victory, a similar style, maybe a little bit more tactical speed than my top selection. He's going to work out a trip with the X-Man as well. These two are very, very close. He's shown the ability to sit a couple lengths out of it and move into the brisker paces.
Tactical speed is deadly here in race number 5. I like that angle with Charge to Victory. Race number 6, of course, is our jackpot super high 5. We have a carryover from Sunday that's about 25,681. Of course, that's going to hike up by the time we get to race number 6. Of course, this allowance turf event for the girls 3 years old and up, going 5.5, of course. Let's go ahead and talk about your top selection, Keith. In the number 7, Spooky Spice, value play of the day. I have this one in my exacta. Get some blinkers off for Michael Stidham and J-Ron Barbosa on.
So this is a horse race right here. Above the limited first look. I mean, she looks like the main speed. She's won her last 2 on the turf. She might get a little company up front with the likes of Kilbritton's Red down inside. Gavin Air, a couple of these other ones might force it. I think she's the horse to beat above the limit. I think the road's going to go for her. I just look for a little bit of price. 10-1, maybe I've got her lined a little too high. Going off the claim. It's been claimed her last 2 races. The blinkers come off. This is a key move for me for Stidham. 4 for 16 and 8 for 16 in the money. Blinkers off on the turf the last couple of years with an ROI close to $3. And I went back to the last win. You're going back to October 2022.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, this was a pretty good race, from just off of it. The 4th place finisher is a horse that won a stakes at 2. So an okay group. I like the positional speed. Maybe she gets that stalking trip and, pushes by late at a price.
Especially, you said pushes by late with that little bit of possible tactical speed with this one. Remember, we have that 5.5 with that wire to the second wire. So if it's played right by Barbosa, really going to come back in dividends for Spooky Spice. If it keeps anything relative to that 10-1 price. Let's talk about the number 8, who you have underneath, just right next to Spooky Spice, is Afandi, Bernard Dunham, Jamie Rodriguez. What's not to like about this one? First thing I do is look at that first off of the layoff effort. Despite it was the fact that it was a claiming 16 level at Delaware Park, really gutsy at the end performance there, coming back into that 2022 season.
Good enough, because I'm going to stick with what you said, because I was a fat finger on my part. It should be 7-11 for one, so don't worry about it. So whatever she said about the 8, the 11 should be my second pick. I should be 7-11 for one in there.
Okay.
Above the limit goes and sets sail, but we'll have to, I think, take a little bit of pressure early. Some price shots underneath to look for. Thanks, guys, for the change. 2 horses are going to be a little bit further back in here. They could be 8, 10, 12 out of it early. But if things really ramp up, the 1 Queen of Sheba and the 4 Awesome Jazz. I've always been a fan of Awesome Jazz.
Huge fan,
looking at the bottom side and everything. The family's there. She owes me kind of no money. Thanks. The 1. Let's look at Queen Sheba though for Chuck DeMario and Hillside Thoroughbreds. This horse was 4-1 in a big gaudy field back in November. Okay, been laid off since, but some good work's coming in. I don't really worry about the layoffs, but got all kinds of trouble early. From the inside post, we're going to get the highlight there, and just checking in those darker silks. Check steadying along probably for almost 3/16 of a mile. Going into the turn, steadied again. So, that wasn't her game. She's going to have to deal with an inside post again, though, today. But coming for home, look at her. Down inside with run. Jock Scott horse. He just got nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah, Caramel's like, man, this is just not right. Got a horse that was keyed up, ready to run a big one. And unfortunately, Racing Luck reared its ugly head, the bad Racing Luck type. So I tell you what, she churns on here, only gets beat 5 3/4. She's run some big races on the turf, a good third to Gastown Babe. And Caramel's rides the turf. Well, I think she'll kind of work a trip in the back of the pack.
We'll find out. Only one way to find out there in race number 6 in that awesome allowance. Of course, we talked about it. Both include Awesome Jazz coming back in a sprint. Tried to come back going long last year. That's not her game. Can't wait to see this filly run. I'm a huge fan of Awesome Jazz, but nonetheless, let's carry on to race number 7 in that allowance optional, claiming 55 a mile and 16th on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Keith, you go with the number 2 Accelerator in the warmed up barn of Hugh McMahon, William Humphrey. This has been a fun pair for some prices as of late. So we'll see if they can continue that success first after the claim from the Nest Barn.
Yeah, unfortunate scratch of the 6. Take out the 6 shaft bullet.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, I was going to use that one. Yeah, but no, not today. Accelerator, though, I think with the scratch of the 6, controlling speed. It looks like to me, if Humphrey wants to go, this is a reclaim for Hugh McMahon. His horses run some big tries for Ness of late. I just think he needs to maintain form. Maybe Galerio is a fresh horse and gets aggressive up front, but this horse can sit and kind of take aim just off the pace as well. Unless Galerio kind of gets really keyed up and goes, I think things will slow it down a little bit, which might help a horse like Armando R to stay close like he did last time on that sloppy track. But I think I'm going to key around Accelerator. Short price, maybe not a slew of value in here. Torch of Truth will come down off of that morning line. Hampered, no doubt, by that wide trip last time out.
Absolutely. Keith Fusel goes 2-1-4-5 there in race number 7. And our nightcap of the day, finale of the day, of course, we have to go out with a bang, of claiming 25,000, going 5.5 on the turf for the 3-year-olds and up. Keith, you and I both have the number 8, Shelley Island, here in the barn for Susan Cooney. Sheldon Russell gets the call on this one. Here's Susan Cooney season. Little bit it's almost like getting into turf season, and then as we have our last couple of weeks getting out of turf season, that's where Susan kind of seems to flourish a little bit. So I go with a couple of her horses in my top selections.
Yeah, Russell familiar with this one. I think regrouped after that little trouble there. Some trouble, big time trouble, I guess, back in September. But I had one of her horses on top of the other. Ran a good third in return, decent third, and she's capable with horses. They get them ready, fit, ready to rock first time off the bench. And I think this was just right. I like the horses that he keys up with. I think he's going to draft you in a good position and bring a finish with Sheldon. I think you got to look at Prince Pear. We have a video, right, of Prince Pear's race.
We do.
2 races back on the page, October 9th. Of 2022, and Prince Pear, a good stalking trip. This was an okay field here. The optional 25, the 2 in life. He gets through the condition. Going to work through a little bit of a seam here coming for home, and he sustains. Gomez getting along with Prince Pear is going to be able to work the trip. You see I think the old cheek piece is on. Not a whole lot of horses run with him, but
it's a smart move.
Suzanne Stenius, we'll throw those on some of the horses, and he was on point this race. Enough that he was bet down to 7-2 and a pretty good state bred allowance on the turf next time out. This horse is very familiar with this turf course, and I think another one that, looking at the race from a speed standpoint, fresh enough to kind of sit just off the pace. Now with the scratch of Brion, it might be Boss Man JJ as the target. My man in TV, and we're not going to name names, has got a big price in there for me for 4th. Helping me out, but I think we'll blow up the super if we can get that one home.
Oh, here's hoping.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's check in the lightning round as Keith Fusel goes 8-10-5-1 there in the finale. Let's kick on ahead to your best bet of the day in race number 5, which is at Big Man Can for Damon DeLaDevico.
Big Man Can, yeah. If the 2 speeds break, I think they do hook up around the turn. And you talked about the break last time. Got him off discombobulated on a sloppy surface, a little too sharp behind the speeds. That run just flattened out a little bit. Further back today, just finds a path high and wide like he did a couple races back, and I think rolls on past late.
And your value play of the day is in that next race, race number 6, in the number 7 Spooky Spice. This one is coming back with Michael Stidham and gets the blinkers off.
Certainly well bred. Claimed the last 2 races. Maybe that's hint for further down the line. But I think, this horse getting back to the turf is going to work. The blinkers come off. We talked about the percentage, 25 or 30% with a positive ROI. Above the limit's going to be the one to catch, but I think she'll be lurking there top of the stretch.
And as we go on past kind of this weekend, and let's take a look at it in May. The winner of the Lexington, Grade 3 Lexington, last Derby prep was won by a Bernardini colt in first mission for Brad Cox. Now, going on with this is the first stakes action that this colt has gotten into. As you can see, Louis Sai is on the inside. Had to make a move early on. We get a bit of a late lead change here, which he benefited from. Got a little resurged, but what I love, so Michael Banahan, the Dolphin USA Bloodstock director, just wanted to note in that was a very professional run in that jump from that maiden win to pass a lot of tests, especially winning in a Grade 3 first time amongst stakes company, but with the easy kind of race setup. Again, passing a lot of bravery tests. What I love is Brad Cox's comment about this horse and a little bit of his journey. He was a bit late to start with his 2023 campaign, winning so close to the Derby. So what makes it sense logical is this 5-week timing from that one to the Preakness. Going back to him as a 2-year-old, and this is the biggest thing that I want to note and want to applaud on all of the connections for this guy, is that he, as a 2-year-old, was not keeping pace up last summer. Nothing was wrong with him. They gave him some time off. Nothing was wrong with him. No surgeries were had. He just needed some time to be a horse instead of a racehorse. And then he came back off of that break as a 2-year-old and just really in the morning started showing them what he was capable of. And then it results to things like this. So I wanted to give a kudos to all of those connections of just being proper horsemen and saying, hey, he's not showing what we think he's capable of. Let's take him back. Let's let him be a horse, and comes back, and that's exactly what he shows.
Toughest thing for owners in this game to do, and even especially trainers. It costs money when they're on the bench, right? So sometimes the training bills and these kind of we got to run. You hope you have owners have some pockets that can handle those situations, right? So the patience will pay off in the long run, and it certainly worked for this one. This one caught our eyes a couple races back at the fairgrounds first. That was a dominant performance. Stepped it up last time out, worked through a little bit of traffic inside. And you saw when he switched leads, he wasn't stopping. He was even getting stronger that last 16th of a mile, 70 yards to the wire. So I think he's going to be a little bit of a force to be reckoned with down the road.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So here's hoping that he makes a little showing here in Preakness like his sire did. And with that, we are going to head on over to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches.
All righty. Good luck.